And
Okay.
hi, it's Coach Mike on the mic here, welcoming Noor Ashikin Aziz, the founder and CEO of Purpose. Welcome, Noor.
Thank you, Mike, for having me here. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a real thrill for us too, because we as brands are about both Singapore based, and we're both kind of about the same age. We've both been around for 4 to 5 years, so quite a few similarities as we got to know each other.
Yes, indeed. I mean, I remember seeing you the first time, and then subsequently many other times, around at races and events. But it's really just a hi and hello, and then we were both busy, so I think it's a great time now to catch up and get to know each other properly.
Yeah. So we've got to thank COVID-19 for this opportunity.
Yes.
Although we're kind of cursing it, but we're looking at this as whatever upside we can make out of it. So I wonder if we could start out of curiosity with your life before Purpose. What were you doing, and what led you into Purpose?
Oh, prior to Purpose, before doing what I do now, I used to be I used to hold senior leadership roles in advertising agencies and marketing consultancies. It's a fairly nice job, cushy job, pays well. And I used to do that I did that for about 20 or 22 years, and I hold a fairly senior position. But it's just that I felt that it wasn't really something that I really wanted to end off doing, So I just didn't want to be like, going through at the age of 50, still doing work for other clients, because I felt that it was just at an intersection of time when, I felt jaded, but at the same time, I was also feeling a surge in wanting to own my own brand. And I also was feeling a surge into wanting to try to do something in sports, because I was really into running and duathlon then. And so I think the intersection just came, and I thought, hey, I could do something around this space where I think that it's about time that Southeast Asia has a brand that is designing its own products, for our community.
Yeah. Okay, I think I want to check your IC to check your age. You're saying you're 50. You look about 35. So let's put that down to good, healthy living. So
Yes.
Congratulations on looking in good shape at your tender age of 50. And I'd also say, a lot of people spend their life wishing and hoping for to do something that involves something they love, loving what they do and doing what they love. And not many people get that opportunity. So I think for both of us, for better or worse, no more cushy salary every month, but I guess we stepped across the chasm into everything that involves running your own brand. For me, that would mean turning the lights on in the morning, emptying the rubbish tins, all the production work, the coming up with the ideas, dealing with failure, having the occasional success as well. Talk us through some of your highlights or lowlights and what they taught you. Let's talk about the lowlights first and what they taught you along the way.
Yeah, that's the beauty of sports, because I think a lot of things that we learn in sports, it's a lot of training and a lot of learning. You don't get good straight away overnight. You have to go through the entire process of learning, and probably it could take months or years or even longer than that to actually become really, really good. So when you take that learning, that process in sports, and then transfer it down to personal learning and personal guiding, I think that's what I did. In order to be where I am, there's a lot of learning, there's a lot of failures, a lot of things. Nothing the thing that I've learned in doing the things that I do now, pushing out products, is that nothing that goes out is ever 100% perfect. So there's always something that needs to be improved on, that can be improved on, but sometimes you just say, I'll have to bite it, I'll just push it out. because, you know, that's the goal. That is, you know, the starting gate has opened and we need to push it out. But so, and then you learn from people's feedback, from people's review, from, you know, from talking, you know, from being on the ground, you know, being at events, you know, when you talk to people or when you talk to triathletes about the products itself, you pick up what is it that you can then, you know, become better at. It's almost like everybody's a coach to me, you know. So, you know, you share them their products, they wear their products, they said, okay, I think this one can be improved here, this one can be improved there. So it's really about, you know, all of that. I think that are the failures that, I mean, I wouldn't say it's a failure because it's a whole training part, right? So you know where you fall on. At the same time, you know that you can pick it up and then become better as a result. You know, so it's all about iterating products, iterating myself. You know, even if you are an athlete, then it's about iterating and adding on to things that you've learned. So these are almost, I would say that every product that you see, no matter how good it is, I'd say has gone through some sort of failures, has gone through some sort of learning, has gone through some sort of a design development or you know, some kind of iteration to be where it is right now.
What a great attitude, and a great humble attitude where everyone's your teacher. And I like what you said about, you know, the whole process of training and how closely aligned to business that is. And I can remember, and there's actually a saying that goes, nobody remembers an easy race. So you think about the hardest race you've ever been in. It could have been because of the ocean, it could have been the heat, the cold, or whatever, the wind. But nobody will ever talk about that race. They'll only talk about the tough ones. And I think the valuable learnings sometimes come from things that didn't go so well. Now, speaking of things that have gone well, your brand's gone international. So not...
Yes, indeed. It has. Yes. There's a couple of things that I want to share, but maybe I'll share that a little bit later.
Okay.
I think around 2018 was when, I mean, I'll just have to give credit where credit is due, when we got the big break of getting to know Dr. Dan Plus, who subsequently in that year won the Ironman age group World Championship and won it in world record time. And he wore the Purpose Pro Performance kit. And he's been wearing Purpose since then. So, you know, we got lucky as a result. We got from there, and then somehow through him, we just built on the successes. We just, you know, basically, you know, more people were exposed to the brand. So now we are in the US. We know we have an ambassador team that's running that's wearing Purpose in the US. Right now, we're talking about a potential distributorship in Europe with a UK retailer, you know, things like that. And then, so we've expanded our, not just our products, but also our technical expertise in the products that we do in tri-suits, you know. So I think we've been lucky on that, and it's fantastic to see that we've grown that way.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's luck. I would say like minds meeting. And Dan Plus was here in Singapore working in the high performance environment, then New Zealand, and I believe he's in the US now. And he's a very talented and a very progressive thinking athlete as well. So what a great guy to have on board. And I would say that's like minds attract like minds. So well done on that. And so I want to go back 10 years and my experience of running a club as a coach and running a club. The club was Tri-Edge along with Scott Larson. And I remember the last thing we used to do in a calendar year was plan and get some design down and get ideas together for our next year's kit. Now, I want to think back 10 years to the type of kit that we were getting and the fabric back in the day and how much it's changed in 10 years. It was one-dimensional fabric. I won't mention who it came from because it was actually state of the art in the day. But it was one-dimensional. It didn't fit everyone that well. The chamois were average. and and also the breathability, the whole science behind how it reacts with an athlete in the heat left a lot to be desired. Now we move forward 10 years. Wow, what a lot's changed.
Yeah.
How has it been for you as a brand keeping up with that? And can you tell us about some of your secret sauce, some of the great stuff that you have in your gear that just makes it stand out?
Well, I totally agree with you. I think it was that one-dimensional fabric, that one-dimensional feel that actually led me to decide, in 2017 or 2016, to try to make purpose work. Specifically, to make products that is developed for Southeast Asia weather, the kind of humidity and all. I think that is what that led me to that space. Somehow during that time, I think it was also perhaps the revolution or the innovation of fabric starts coming in. So yeah, then a lot more of other brands, I would say it's more the boutique brands, because we are more agile that way, developing products that are, highly technical and highly functional for racers, and pricing it at an achievable price. So it's not so expensive as were to be like, the big brands
Yep.
or the big global names. So I think because of that, I think there's a lot more innovation coming in, and I'm glad that I've managed to pick up on that trend. And at the same time, also other brands are also picking up, even with me. And I'm, because having been in this industry, I know that how we look at each other, not only as competitors, but also we look at each other in terms of, hey, what are they doing that I can learn from? That then I can do something good with, and then they can then look at me and just say, what am I doing, or what is purpose doing that they can learn from? So
Yeah.
it's likewise, it's like that. So I think that evolution has come to that space where it's going to just get better from here. So you get a lot more, highly functional fabric that becomes, due to the size of it, the scale of it becomes cheaper. And then as a result, we are then able to develop or create more things that are even higher functional, or higher functioning or higher performance. So I think it's fantastic to be in that space where there's a lot of transformation that's happening.
Yeah. Now you've got a lot more people using and testing and giving feedback, namely Singapore triathlon team, their Malaysian counterparts, and you've moved in to some pretty big clubs, not just Singapore, because we have many common customers and athletes in common. For example, Colin O'Shea's team, Kim and Alan Bradley, and a whole bunch of other people that use your that are purpose wearers as well as recovery systems customers. But we've your brand's really extended out into other countries like Indonesia, Malaysia. Tell us about some of the feedback and how that's really important to you connecting with your customers.
Yeah. One of the, I think it's one of the things that I'm learning, and I think that has made me better in this space would be the ITU triathlon suits, because I think when we started with long course suits, and we had 2 years of learning to do that. So only last year when we decided that we'll go into the ITU or the short course tri suits, and then we did so through the sponsorship of Triathlon Singapore and through the sponsorship of Triathlon Malaysia, Vietnam Tri Team, and Indonesia. So, and these teams wear purpose at the last year's SEA Games. So of course, because more people are wearing it, we get a lot more feedback. Some on the left, some on the right. Some say it's really good. Some say it's awful. So I think, but what I have learned from, and you'll see soon enough, as soon as we open up, would be we've taken all that feedback and we are actually we've created several prototypes that are taking into account the feedback that these ITU athletes or national athletes have given, like in terms of, being water repellent, being, cold weather, being, higher air, I would say core temperature regulating. We have the prototypes. we have it, but we just haven't got down to testing it. But we've created it. So I think once the situation lighten up and we can push it out into actual real world testing, we have the athletes, some of them are from the national teams, ready to wear these kits to test them out. So I think that's something that we're doing right now.
Right. Now we've been talking a lot about multi-sport. How about running? Is there anything happening for running?
Yes, that's perfect. I think you asked me at the right time. We launched running in um, February. Yes, February. We launched running with the highest model. So our highest model is the pro performance model, and it uses, in fact, all of our pro performance kit uses our intellectually property. We registered it as one of our trademark and one of our IP. Uses our hypermesh. So we use the hypermesh pro, and then we also have another level of running top called that uses the hypermesh elite, which is a little bit more different. I equate it to saying that you have one type of running tee that is for hot humid weather, and then the other type of running tee for hot dry weather. So it's a bit of a balance of both. So we launched that. And something exciting came along. We touched. Somebody linked me up with currently the world record holder for 100-mile ultra running. Zach Bitter. Yeah, you can maybe Google him up, zachbitter.com, and then find out what his pedigree. He used to be 3 times national U.S. national champion. He's a champion at 50-mile, 100-mile, and a 200-mile. And he's a world record holder for the 100-mile. So he wore the kit, he tested it, he loved it. So now he's become our ambassador. So he's now our sponsored athlete. So at the running space, we have someone who's doing it at an ultra level, who's really wearing our kits and who loved it. He tested all our kits and he said he loved, a couple of them, and he said he will be wearing them. To a point where right now we are on a project right now with a few of his other sponsors on a project to do another world record, and that's going to be on May 16. And that world record is the 12-hour treadmill virtual world record. So he wants to run the furthest distance on a treadmill in 12 hours. So if there's anything else that you're talking about indoor training, wearing purpose for indoor training, that would be the one. So he's gonna do that.
That's crazy. I believe that record's more than 100 miles. Is that correct? Did I understand that? So wow.
Yes, it's 100 miles. So that would equate to about 160 kilometers. Yeah, that's a long.
But it's crazy to think of doing it on a treadmill. Not many people could handle that.
Yeah, I know. So
this is very exciting. Well, that's great, and it's great to see how your brand's become truly international, and so well done. You must be very proud of that.
Thank you.
Well, let's talk about life after we get let out. We're locked up at the moment, and that's all fair enough. We understand why, and most of us are finding our way around, what to do and, what is the sensible amount of exercise to do. For a lot of the folks I know, including yourself, you're into fasting month as well. So there's a different rhythm about how we go about things. But after we get let out, so to speak, after this is over, after we move to the next level down and social distancing rules change, we're going to have a traffic jam of races for the rest of the year. It's almost going to be a traffic jam. How excited are you about that?
Oh, it's super excited. I mean, obviously for one reason is being that, we are able to then bring purpose out again. Number 2 would be there's a couple of races that I'm involved in. But I think my focus would still be trying to bring purpose out to the people, to try to, I think, how we started was that we started with very small events or very small guerrilla marketing tactics. That was 2 years, 3 years ago, and then it just grew up a little, grew a little bit more, a little bit more. So this year we had piloted, or we were supposed to be piloting a way where we do a larger scale event at the expos. So where we would take, one booth just for ourselves, and then another booth for a purpose hospitality booth and things like that. I just want to know whether it will be lovely to work with you on working towards a hospitality booth where, if we could call it the purpose recovery booth, so
Yes, yeah,
where it becomes of a larger scale community activity versus just having an expo booth that sells stuff. We want it
yeah,
to be also a hospitality booth or an activity booth where the community can come and really get together with us. I
yeah,
think that we were supposed to pilot it this year, but
yeah,
things happen. But just
yeah.
waiting for it to open, and we were going to push that out. Yeah.
Well, I love that sense of collaboration between brands that can cooperate together, because we're not in a competing space, and we've run recovery lounges at races a lot, but also the day before the race, it's a nice concept to have that VIP lounge where people feel special. They can come and do some pre-race recovery, hear about purpose. I'm totally up for that. And I've always said, when we've been working at Ironman races, I've always said to them, hey, why don't we put all the, the nutrition, all the recovery folks and anyone that's complementary to that in the recovery lounge. So I think we're really thinking along. That hasn't really happened yet. So I'm dead keen to make that happen with you, and or for our customers to discover purpose, and for your customers to discover recovery systems as well. Dead keen to do that. So yeah, let's plan that. And I love that sense of collaboration. That was one of my questions about your willingness to collaborate with brands, people, and companies. Obviously, you've just answered that question. You're very keen to connect and connect ecosystems together, which is really good to hear.
Yeah, I think that is. It is like that. I think being small, I think we just need to be able to work with partners who can, complement us. We are not strong at every level or every size or every aspects. So we need to be open enough to work with people or partners or companies who can provide that strength at some other parts. So similar to how we've got successes with Dan Plus, and I'm hoping that we can get success with Zach Bitter. It could also be the same, working with you, or other brands that come to us and just say, hey, this is what, I have an idea to do this, and we can provide this component. You can provide the other component, and we can get bigger. And I think that's what I want to do, and that's what I think that's what we've been doing. That's what the community, at least in Southeast Asia, the brands or the fledgling brands, the boutique brands need to do that, because I want to be able to champion a Southeast Asia ecosystem. So I feel that by being able to do that, we can, collectively, each of us can get better as a result.
Yeah, absolutely, totally up for it. So let's talk about your own training and the races. You double hat, wear two hats at a lot of races. You're there representing purpose, but quite often you're racing as well. Just talk us through some of your target races, your A races for the rest of the year, and otherwise races that you will be at solely for purpose.
Okay. Well, at the beginning of the year, my plan was to do Ironman or 70.3 Desaru, and also usually would be the 73.3 Langkawi as well. I think Langkawi has always been almost like a home ground to me, because it's Singapore and Malaysia, and I love the crowd. It's a real festival atmosphere. But I think this year, because it's too compact, and I have postponed Desaru to next year, but it's quite likely that I will keep Langkawi if it happens. If not, then there is also the Powerman, the Putrajaya Powerman, another big event.
Yeah.
So I think these are the three key races. There were other races that I was considering about doing, which is the Davao as well as Cebu. But I think I didn't, I think I need to see, where they are in terms of planning, because
yeah, sure.
I think once it becomes chock-a-block at the end of the year, it's just crazy to do one race every week. I would rather just focus on being there as purpose, and then focusing only on. And I'm happy to just do just one race for the year, and that could be just Langkawi or Ironman
Sure.
Malaysia.
I mean, if we look at even, say, for example, the Singapore races, you've got Meta Sprint hasn't happened, may happen. We've got the Singapore International Triathlon, Duathlon, the Aquathon, and generally there's some trifecta races in there. So there's I don't know, 7 or 8 races in. That's a race a month. So we're going to be busy, that's for sure. So we need to offline. We need to get together and discuss what that looks like. And I'm very keen to work with you on that. Well, look, that's been great catching up with you. Congratulations on your great success, and also the very freshness of that news of the world record attempt as well. I think that's just brilliant. And yeah, we look forward to catching up with you. And after the lockdown, of course, catching up in person, and also getting together for some races for the benefit of our customers, present and future.
Yes, indeed. Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
You're very welcome. Over and out for now. Bye-bye, everyone.
All right.